Well, good evening. It's the 22nd of May, and it's been a while. We last talked on May 4th, and if you saw the connect the dots and the stings on the sheriff, and thousands of people have seen that. And if you've watched those shows or you're new to Alan Osborne shows, you need to go up. You can click on all the videos once you get on the channel and subscribe on YouTube. It's free. And you can line them up by date and watch them in order and start over there. I don't know, about the 28th of April and start watching them forward. And you know, we got a legal problem. Things that have happened lately. If you're tuning in new or you became a viewer because of watching those shows, basically, I try to come after politicians and bad cops and just the bullshit that's destroying America, not across America, but just in the counties where I can affect it locally. Where I've been in Walton County, Okaloosa County, and the Emerald Coast, anywhere else I happen to land or I have been a part of, because I believe America's failing just because people don't think the rules apply to anybody, and especially not them. And that's okay if you own a business, but if you're part of government and that's what's killing us, man, that's just not going to work. Because let's go over some things here. See if you're watching my show, let's see if we're on the same wavelength. These are things that are pissing me off right now. On the news yesterday, over 18,000 illegal immigrants are just entering America. And the key word's illegal. Well, if it's illegal, when over the past 20 years did illegal just become the norm to be okay? Everything's illegal. If you're not shooting somebody or up, if you're not doing something to destroy a church or make the news or shoot up in some supermarket or some nut job thing. I mean, come on, news. There's always going to be some crazy out there that none of us can do anything about. But it's the attitude of society that's made that happen, that those rules don't apply to me, or I'm part of this group, so the rules don't apply to me. That's not a good thing. Fuel's at its highest ever. We got $6 a gallon diesel. What were you fools riding with Biden thinking, voting for that idiot? He shut off a pipeline, and America doesn't have the capacity to just switch to green because he said the word green. The only thing green that's going on is everybody who's holding those oil futures that knew that when Biden got elected, he's going to drive them through the roof, and they've made millions. This is politics in America. It's not about people running America that are for Americans. It's about them being for their own agenda. And they're dividing us into so many groups. And then we got the war on the Ukraine. People, the stock market just lost enough money that if you made any in the past few years, you probably lost it unless you're sitting in oil stocks or energy stocks. You probably just lost everything you made for the last couple of years, unless you snatched all your cash out of the market like me and just sat on it because you didn't want to be riding with Biden to the bottom of the market. I didn't do that stupid shit. But the reason I go over this before I get into the local stuff is this. America's being destroyed. We can't afford 1 million illegal people here. You come here and have kids and that makes you legal. Look, we need to change something in the Constitution that you come here with 2 illegal parents or 1 illegal parent to be born and it's not an emergency or an evacuation. You're not legal and we're shipping all of you back to where you belong. This is not, don't be baited by you're a racist and that's discriminatory. The fact that you say the word illegal ends all the rest of that. If you're speeding illegally, it doesn't matter what group you're in, what color you're in, what religion you are, you sped and you get a fine. These people that have come into our country, we simply cannot afford them. And to make 2% America happy that we're all not saying something that God forbid hurt somebody's damn ears, they're going to have to get over that shit too, because this is breaking America's back. The fact that the laws don't matter, and I'll tie that locally here in a minute, but if you're new to my show, I want you to know what I think. This is what conservative is to me. Just calling it like I see it and knowing when we're getting the shaft, and I'm not going to just sit there and go, oh, let's talk nice about it. Look, we're losing America, and you better look to your left and right on your friends that you can count on. Some of y'all better run for office, and it'll probably be veterans that save this country. If anybody can, it'll be the veterans trying to get elected to leadership in Congress. That's the only people that really know the true cost of politics and maintaining America. Is people who put their own ass on the line for it. If you look at a book of Congress in the 50s and look at one now, you'd probably be sick compared to the experience level. And we don't need any more lawyers in office either. If you're a lawyer and want to run for office, to hell with you. This constant division of everybody. And the last thing I'm going to say about that, if you want to be in a group, be an American. If you have to pick a group here in the United States, pick the group of being an American. Even if you're Hispanic, Black, white, Asian, if you're an American, for God's sakes, try to be just in that group. Yeah, okay, be proud of all that other stuff. Yeah, I guess I'll get out my banjo and be proud of being a hillbilly. But I'm proud of being an American. And I've seen enough of the rest of the world in my 35 years with the Department of Defense that those of you that believe this sunshine blowing it up each other's ass, that the world can't come to hell, hell's coming to you. All the failures of the world are illegally immigrating into America. And that ain't the way to make America better. And that's what I'll say about that. But the rules don't matter. And so going back to the local stuff, not one law enforcement person has contacted me. And they say, Alan, that's old news, but it's not. They just approved new condominiums. If the traffic's out of compliance, did we just give up the proportional fair share? They're not vested if they're out of compliance in Sandestin. That could be a fortune, which leads us to the grand old 1% sales tax. Do you know why that 1% sales tax is going to be put on the ballot? Because your leaders don't have the guts and have not had the guts for the past 20 years. And they've overrun 400 or 500 million in deficits in infrastructure. And it's so bad that if they don't get this 1% tax, they're going to have to admit how we got to this 500 or 600 million. So I think we should vote no for it. It's the only way we can force the commissioners to stop approving developers who don't pay for their infrastructure and the damage they do and pass it on to us. That's got to stop. If you're a developer, you're a builder, whatever you do in the construction industry, you should bid the requirements into your job. You should put that in your business model before you decide to build something. And the crap that's going on is because, like I said, the rules just don't matter. But let me give you something else. Somebody told me it was a bunch of BS the other day. Here's how you can't fix DC, but when's the last time any of your locals rounded up all these immigrants and took them to Tallahassee and told the governor to give them back to the feds? When did Sheriff Atkinson, when's he done that? He hasn't. He's not going to. And neither is the sheriff of Okaloosa County. We just saw a picture of him with Graham. Not one word was said, but I know Graham crawled around the people. He wanted that shit off the show. F you, Graham. That's as nice as I'm gonna be. But let me tell you how long this 1% sales tax in Walton County, how long has the county known it was doing the wrong thing? Here's a letter written to Mr. Greg Anchors in Defuniak Springs, and it has to do with Sandestin not paying their way. And the county knew and just flat broke the law. They did something illegal, and now they want us to pay for it with 1%. They approved roads that weren't there. They sold off basically proportional fair share. They approved projects and the roads were overloaded and they knew it. But listen to this. A letter was written to Mr. Anchors in October 2012 after he made a public statement that the issues in Sandestin had been investigated. So we wrote him, we said, Mr. Anchors, this is October 22nd of 2012, Mr. Anchors' letter, if you want to do a public records request in Defuniak Springs, that you need Mr. Anchors' letter dated October 22nd, 2012 on the Driftwood Sandestin issue. We would like to make certain that you have accurate information. Therefore, we are responding to your letter. As clearly stated, in the fifth amended complaint, the Driftwood owners, part of Sandestin, have not alleged mortgage fraud because of county commissioners and failure to enforce the developmental plans. Individual development plans are not the potential criminal issue that you think you see. Rather, the issue is Walton County's failure to follow and enforce the law. Specifically, Walton County Ordinances 2003, 2002-18, 2004-28, and Section 380-17 of the Florida statutes. These ordinances, Walton County, listen to this, folks, is how you got to 1%. One of the reasons, it's not all of them, but this was 2,000 or 3,000 acres of non-compliance. So Walton County continues to issue building permits for construction when Walton County's own personnel know it's non-compliance. See the testimony of Walton County employee Renee Bradley. And it goes on in this letter to state, you claim Mr. Osborne, me's issues are without merit. But first and foremost, Sandestin's own lawyer admits that it's in non-compliance. At this date, they had. And the comments are attached, Mr. Van Orbeck. So it says, further, 2 different land planners, and now since then, a PhD that county hired, Charlie Gauthier and Wendy Gray, on behalf of the Sandestin Owners Association, have expressed the opinion that the Sandestin DRI is non-compliance. Non-compliance means it's breaking the law, people. Do you see the problem? If they're breaking the law and nobody's willing to do it, and they're using the paperwork to borrow the money to overload our roads, and then they're going to save themselves of the $600 million in debt that the public needs to bring it up to speed by charging us all 1% of everything we do. Folks, this is how you stop this now. And you need to call the state attorney's office and say, why has nobody investigated this? Why did they put my name on a list at the sheriff's department, Alan Osborne? Because they didn't want me telling you guys the truth. How come somebody hacked my computer after I posted Graham Fountain over there with the sheriff of Okaloosa and all that other information? And Mike Atkins, boy, they didn't like it. But nobody stepped forward in the police department to make a statement. Nobody. Not Graham, not even Fat Ass. He's the gift of gab. He could have ate all he wanted to and run that mouth, but he ain't getting out here saying what I've said ain't true, because I've got these documents. Folks, if you don't like what's happening in America, we all got to get together and fix it right here locally first, because you can't scream about DC and Tallahassee if the word illegal doesn't mean anything in your own backyard. Sorry for the hiatus, but I want you to think about those other shows, and I didn't want them distracted. So go back and watch those shows on the great land fraud, because you're about to see it on the ballot in a 1%, and you're about to see it in the commission races. They try to cover it up. I'm voting for Donna Johns. I don't know who you're voting for. I'm voting for Dan. I'm voting for anybody who's not part of the good old boys that's willing to tell the truth in government. God, we've got to save ourselves, or you'll see America go right out the door. If you like $6 a gallon gas, if you like going to Walmart and feeling broke and no formula and all the other stuff, keep voting Democrat and see what you keep believing the hype. Keep being divided, or be a good American and demand better government. And if it's bad for America, then let's get rid of it. Send it back where it came from. I'm the Alan Osborne Show. Y'all keep them straight out here, you hear? Because if we don't keep them straight, the government cannot keep itself straight. Y'all know what I'm saying? See ya.